Is it true that you in one sitting drank 117 beers? Yes. Alcohol, once thought to bring pleasure, has turned into a double-edged sword that destroyed the lives of many Hollywood stars. The obsession with intoxication made them lose their health careers and dragged along tragedies no one could have foreseen. Some got involved in horrifying accidents, leaving the public stunned by how they mysteriously escaped punishment. Others fell into the grip of the law because drunken rages led to uncontrollable violence. And there were stars once celebrated as icons who ended up forever tied to deadly scandals that shook all of Hollywood. What dark secrets had been buried for years only to be exposed after their terrifying drunken spirals? And do you have the courage to face the chilling truth about these stars who seemed flawless, yet fell into a downfall with no way back? One, Humphrey Bogart, unexpectedly passed away from martini addiction. When people mention Humphrey Bogart, the public still immediately remembers Rick Blaine Cold and Magnetic in Casablanca 1942, the film that the New York Times hailed as an immortal masterpiece of Hollywood. But behind the glamorous lights, Bogart appeared in a completely different image. A notorious alcoholic, someone Hollywood both feared and resented. According to journalist Ha Hopper's 1953 memoir, Bogart often carried a giant martini jug to the Warner Brothers set, drinking right in the middle of a scene as if it were a prop. Once he got so drunk that he showed up in pajamas, hopped on a bicycle, and zigzagged across the Burbank studio lot. Director Michael Curtis shouted, "Cut it right now! This is a film set, not your pub bogey." But the antics didn't stop at the studio. In 1949, Los Angeles police recorded Bogart driving drunk on Sunset Boulevard, causing a fatal accident. Strangely, the case files were quickly reduced. The Los Angeles Examiner hinted at the time that a massive sum of money had been paid to bury the truth. Bogart also frequently got into public brawls. In March 1951, at a West Hollywood bar, he threw an entire bottle at a group of young men, forcing the police to intervene. A witness recalled on KTLA he screamed, "I'm a star. I do whatever I want." The incident disappeared after Warner Brothers bailed him out, but Bogart's reputation in the industry began to collapse. More frighteningly, Confidential magazine later investigated and revealed that Bogart was not only addicted to alcohol, but also kept powdered opiates and Chenol in his dressing room. This deadly mix caused him to collapse repeatedly on set, forcing directors to constantly rearrange shooting schedules. Insider sources at Warner Brothers claimed as many as 3 major projects had to drop Bogart due to his deteriorating health and severe legal scandals. His private physician, Dr. Diras Martin Gable, once warned his stomach is as thin as paper, his liver is swollen. Just a few more years of hard liquor and he won't survive. But Bogart only smirked and replied, "Life without martini isn't worth living." That line spread across Hollywood like a joke, but in reality, it was his death sentence. In 1957, Bogart died of esophageal cancer. The public mourned, but the film industry admitted bluntly he had destroyed his brilliant career with alcohol, drugs, and legal troubles. The glory of Hollywood's most charming man was forever eclipsed by darkness. And if Bogart was called the king of alcohol and scandal, right after him came a queen whose beauty shook Hollywood even more. That was Elizabeth Taylor, the beauty icon of the 20th century who drowned in alcohol sleeping pills and scandals that kept American tabloids racing for front-page headlines. Chapter 2. Elizabeth Taylor abandoning her children to starve while partying for days. By the 1970s, Elizabeth Taylor, once praised by Life magazine as the mythical beauty of Hollywood, had begun her downward spiral into the whirlpool of alcohol. During the filming of A Little Night Music in Vienna, she often arrived on set hours late, sometimes still passed out on the dressing room floor after sleepless nights of whiskey and vodka. The Los Angeles Times once reported that at the Dorchester Hotel in London, Taylor was caught completely drunk screaming at staff because breakfast didn't come with enough champagne. A witness described Elizabeth shouted that she wanted an entire crate of wine, not just a single bottle. The whole hotel lobby froze. Many couldn't believe that was the most powerful actress in Hollywood. What outraged the public even more was her neglect of her children. In a BBC interview, her daughter, Liza Todd, bitterly admitted that her childhood was a string of lonely days with her mother constantly vanishing for parties, alcohol, and scandalous affairs. Once Taylor left her youngest son, Michael Wilding Jr., alone at their Beverly Hills mansion for 48 hours just to follow friends to Las Vegas for gambling and vodka. The Daily Mail even quoted neighbors saying the kids were often left hungry, relying on the maid to buy food for them. Her marriages were also long chains of tragedy. Her fifth husband, Senator John Warner, confessed to the Washington Post that he fell into depression from watching his wife constantly drunk, insanely jealous, and once smashing glass doors in their Virginia estate. Before that, her stormy affair with Richard Burton was dubbed by Newsweek as the storm of the century, a whirlwind of alcohol, infidelity, and violent fights. Many witnesses claimed that during drunken fits, Taylor would leave parties with actor Peter Lawford, driving Burton into a rage so wild he smashed a vodka bottle in front of guests. It didn't stop there. In the early 1980s, Confidential magazine published secret files revealing Taylor's involvement in an affair with a famous director in Malibu. Both were described as drenched in vodka and Chanel in a seaside hotel room. MGM reportedly paid heavily to silence the press protecting Hollywood's queen. In 1983, Taylor became the first Hollywood star to voluntarily check into the Betty Ford Center in Rancho Mirage for rehab. The Washington Post ran the headline, "Elizabeth Taylor, Hollywood's queen, bows her head and admits she is an addict." The public was shocked, but insiders whispered that this was nothing more than a reputation rescue after scandals of neglecting her children, adultery, and domestic violence. Even in rehab, Taylor couldn't escape her doomed love with Richard Burton, who himself was drowning in alcohol and sedatives. Their love, described by Time as the flame that burned Hollywood to the ground, became a symbol of passion, jealousy, scandal, and vodka. Number 3. Richard Burton, drunk driving, sent 2 pedestrians to the emergency room. Born in poor Wales, Burton was once hailed by The Guardian as the rightful heir to Laurence Olivier. Critics saw him as a force of raw energy, ready to redefine acting itself. But behind the stage lights, Burton's life spiraled into endless drunkenness. Director John Huston once shuddered, recounting, "Burton could drink 3 bottles of vodka in a single day, then still stand up and declare he was more sober than anyone." That addiction soon dragged him into scandal. In 1967, Los Angeles police arrested him for drunk driving on Sunset Boulevard. His Cadillac plowed into 2 pedestrians, sending them to the ER. Yet, strangely, he only received a suspended sentence after Warner Brothers intervened with money. The Los Angeles Herald-Examiner asked sarcastically, "Does Hollywood justice come with a price tag?" It wasn't the first time. In 1962 in Rome, Burton, drunk on vodka, brawled with a group of Italian youths at the Excelsior Hotel lobby. One man was seriously injured. Italian newspapers buzzed that police had been handed thick envelopes to ensure the story never reached mainstream press. By the 1970s, Burton's career collapsed. On the set of The Klansman 1974, he was so drunk he couldn't stand forcing the director to keep his character seated in every scene. Journalist Rex Reed wrote bitterly in New York magazine Burton now acts more with alcohol than with talent. He was dropped from countless projects, and rumors claimed Francis Ford Coppola once considered him for a major role, but cut his name out, saying no one can control him. His private life was equally chaotic. The Taylor-Burton duo was described by Time as the atomic couple exploding wherever they appeared. Once during a party in Mexico City, Burton drunkenly splashed champagne in Taylor's face, prompting her to retaliate by smashing a glass in front of dozens of guests. That image spread worldwide, making them symbols of love and hatred and alcohol. His doctor, Dr. Milton Stark, repeatedly warned his liver had swollen to twice its size with blood vessels ready to burst at any time. But Burton coldly puffed on his cigarette and said, "Then I will die like a real man with a bottle of vodka in my hand." And that prophecy came true on August 5, 1984. Burton died suddenly in Switzerland at age 58. People mourned a genius actor nominated for 7 Oscars, but remembered him more as Hollywood's most infamous drunk, a man who dragged himself from the peak of fame to the depths of ruin. And if Richard Burton willingly plunged into the darkness of alcohol, Hollywood also once saw a star pushed into the abyss from childhood. That was Judy Garland, Little Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, the most tragic victim of Hollywood's cruelty. Chapter 4. Judy Garland lost everything just to buy fine liquor. In the 1940s, Judy Garland was adored worldwide as MGM's Golden Girl Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz 1939 with her sweet voice and innocent smile. On screen, she shone brightly, but in real life, she silently slid into addiction to alcohol, sleeping pills, and despair. The press once praised Judy as the most perfect star Hollywood ever created. But by the late 1950s, that image had crumbled. Tabloids like National Enquirer,